The Great Wall of China is far more than just a barrier of stone and earth. It is a sprawling system of fortifications that winds across mountains, deserts, and plains, telling the story of a civilization's evolving needs, ambitions, and identity. Its origins stretch back to a time when China was not a single empire but a patchwork of rival states. During the Warring States period, each kingdom, Qi, Chu, Yan, Han, Zhao, Wei, and Qin, built its own segments of earthen ramparts to protect against raids by nomadic tribes. Those early walls were practical local defenses made of tamped earth and wood, marking territory and deterring swift incursions, but they also planted the idea that man could shape geography to secure his world. When Yingxing of Qin conquered the other 6 states and declared himself Qin Shi Huang, first emperor of a unified China in 221 BCE, he ordered those disparate walls joined into a single frontier defense. An enormous labor force of soldiers, conscripted peasants, and prisoners set to work linking existing fortifications, adding new stretches, and constructing beacon towers for signaling. Rammed earth formed the core, and the work was brutal. Many perished under punishing conditions, giving rise to the legend that parts of the wall were built upon the backs of the dead. Though little of Qin's original work survives, that project set a pattern. The wall would be continually repaired, extended, and adapted over the centuries. Under the Han Dynasty, which ruled from 206 BC to 220 CE, China faced new threats and opportunities. The emperors sponsored ambitious expeditions westward to secure and open the Silk Road trade routes. To protect caravans laden with silk, spices, and precious metals, the Han extended the wall deep into the Gansu corridor, building earthworks that snaked along mountains and river valleys. Watchtowers and garrisons guarded oases and passes, while roads allowed troops to respond quickly to raids. At its peak, the Han Wall formed a protective belt hundreds of miles long, melding defense with economic ambition. After the Han collapse, China fractured again, and the wall fell into neglect. Centuries of division followed, until the Sui and Tang dynasties reunified large swathes of the empire. Both eras favored outreach and diplomacy over static defenses, so maintenance of the wall was intermittent. When the Mongols conquered China in the 13th century, they brushed aside the old frontier with ease, and under Yuan rule, the wall's military purpose vanished. China and its erstwhile northern foes were now part of the same realm. It was only with the rise of the Ming Dynasty in 1368 that the wall was reborn in stone and brick as we largely know it today. The Mongol threat still loomed, and early Ming emperors poured resources into reconstructing and expanding the frontier barrier. Skilled masons replaced earthen ramparts with stone foundations and brick parapets. Watchtowers, signal stations, and garrison posts sprang to life along a route that would eventually stretch more than 5,500 miles from the Bohai Sea in the east to the sands of the Gobi Desert in the west. Where cliffs stood too sheer to climb, the builders carved steps. Where hills formed natural defenses, they laid walls along ridgelines. Beacon fires and smoke signals could relay a warning from one tower to the next in hours, keeping the empire's leadership informed of any approaching danger. The wall was never an impenetrable barrier, but it served as a formidable deterrent. Nomadic raiders could not easily mass forces for a sudden strike, and those who did were channeled toward fortified passes. The presence of soldiers and supply lines along the wall allowed the Ming to project power northward and to regulate trade and movement. Beyond its military function, the wall became a potent symbol of Chinese solidarity and strength, a shared project that bound laborers, officials, and villagers in a common cause. By the early 17th century, internal strife, financial exhaustion, and political turmoil weakened the Ming state. In 1644, Manchu forces exploited a rebel uprising to breach the wall at Shanhaiguan and seize Beijing, founding the Qin Dynasty. Under Qing rule, China's borders shifted beyond the wall's line, and the massive frontier defense lost its strategic necessity. Over the centuries that followed, neglect set in. Wind and rain eroded earthen sections, while local populations quarried bricks and stone for building materials. Watchtowers collapsed, beacon fires flickered out, and grass reclaimed much of the once vast fortification. It was not until the 20th century, amid rising nationalism and a rediscovery of China's ancient heritage, that preservation efforts began. In 1987, UNESCO designated surviving sections of the Great Wall a World Heritage Site. Restoration projects, some meticulous, others controversial, have repaired crumbling parapets, rebuilt towers, and improved access for the millions of visitors who come each year. While only a fraction of the original structure remains intact, the wall's total length, including all its branches, trenches, and natural defenses, now measures over 21,000 kilometers. Today, when one walks along the wall, climbing its worn steps at Muxianyu, tracing its winding curves at Jiankou, or gazing from Beideling's renovated ramparts, it is easy to sense the labor of countless hands, the generations of watchmen, soldiers, and villagers whose lives were shaped by this monumental project. The wall endures not only as an architectural marvel but also as a living narrative, of states rising and falling, of borders drawn and redrawn, and of a civilization's unending quest to define and protect itself against the vastness beyond.